Today, 27th of January 2017, Friday. Yesterday, long session with the fourth partita. Was a little bit unexpected, not announced. And that's the pity of the YouTube notification system. But anyway, it was a great session. We started a little bit earlier at 9 o'clock because I needed Sophie to turn pages in the first part. And I have recorded it until with the sarabande. So now today sun is not shining as bright as yesterday. It's a little bit more windy, so another test for the microphone. But those little walks of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they really do me well. It's just nice to move. And someone said once to me, if you want to move things, if you want to change things in your life, you have to physically move. And that sounded weird at the first time when I heard that, but it's actually true. So anyway, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about value proposition. I might sound weird to you, but let me explain. You know that Anya and I are following now a 10 or 11 week course, a video lab course with Tim Schmoyer, videocreators.com. It's American. It's an awesome guy. He's one of the top experts in the world on YouTube audience growth. And of course, if you're an artist like me and you decide to bring your music out, one of the purposes is to grow your audience. It's obvious. Our society maybe is not used anymore that artists or musicians talk about money, because that should not be our goal in life. We are artists. We are lucky that we have a passion and that we can make a profession out of our hobby, and that's of course the bridge. Once a hobby becomes your profession, it's not your hobby anymore, and you have to figure out in your life how you just buy the daily bread for your children, so to say. And some do it, most musicians do it with teaching. It was something I never seriously considered. I teach at music schools, but it was nothing for me. Just there was not enough discipline amongst the students, and I'm not the person to discipline them. I don't feel like a teacher, you know. Teaching at conservatory level, that always has interested me, but also there I have to be honest, I didn't go after it, so to say. So anyway, I have to find another way of making a living, and YouTube of course is one of the things that can help to grow an audience, but in one way or another you have to do it right. It's not working like by itself. So audience growth is very important and it's very difficult at the same time. It's like next week we have a session about primal branding. That's based on a book that Patrick Hanlon wrote, Primal Branding. So that's the title of his book. And he is investigating, or he did research on how does a brand gets a community, gets people around that are defending their brands to other people. Like for instance, if you have an Apple, you know the situations where Apple and Windows fans are meeting each other, and you know, I don't have to explain you that. So how does that come? And of course we're not Apple, but we can apply the same principles. And so one of the things is the value proposition. And that's actually what goes before the primal branding. So what's two things? What's the target audience that I'm doing this for? Which was it seems to be such an obvious question, but it's not. Something I had to think on about a few days. Another thing is, what is your value proposition in a way? Why are you doing what you're doing? And more specific, who should watch or listen to what you have to tell or have to show in your videos? So, interesting. So the value proposition should hook, in a way, a viewer of a video on YouTube to the experience level. Why am I doing what I am doing? And so if you go on my YouTube channel on the homepage, you will see that the channel art has been updated and changed. I first updated that because January, February, maybe not completely February, but the channel is dedicated to the recording of the partitas only. But also I had to implement now a kind of value proposition on that, and I would like to ask you what you think about that. So my first thought was, well, what am I doing? In effect, I'm doing kind of practical research. You could call it musicologist research, but in a practical way. Secondly, I try to master my craft, so play on the clavichord or on keyboard instruments as good as possible and share that with you. But what is my drive for that? I've been thinking about that a long time, and then once you figure it out a little bit, the next difficulty is just to turn that idea of that thought into one sentence and 3-4 words. So, and my colleagues at Video Lab, so we have a private, secret Facebook group even, it's great because we help each other out and we reflect on each other's work and each other's YouTube channels, which all have a kind, from all my colleagues there, they have a kind of business model around. And it's the nice thing is also that we all come from different niches, so no one of them have ever heard of early music or historically informed performance practice, and so that's a really fresh look. And my drive was eventually to come as close as possible to the composer's voice, idea, whatever, intention. Voice was a word that I came up with. And someone turned it into converge on the composer's voice, and I liked it. I think that's what I'm doing. And many of my colleague musicians are in the same field. We try to be as close, to come as close as what the composer might have thought initially when he composed the piece we are playing now. And so the research part, I thought, well, I don't want to give the impression that I'm the only one who's doing research. And in fact, I might be of part of the musicians in that field that like to reflect on everything, open things and turn things around maybe. But I'm certainly not the one who's reading the most and could quote all historical sources, by far not. And I'm really dedicated only to the music I'm playing. So I made out of that continue the research. So that's everything. That's all I can do. And with that, I recognize also the fact that there has been done so much research already. So I'm not the only one. I'm not the first one. But I think continue the research is important, because I have the feeling that my generation and maybe the generation later, those who are late 20s, 30s, that we have in a general tendency think that we have figured it out, how Bach played and Mozart played, or there is a little bit less room, I think, for experiment. If I play the Waldstein in a different tempo, there's finger pointing, but that's another topic. But continue the research. And then second point, master the craft. I think that's very important, also considering the clavichord. That's of course bringing everything of keyboard playing to a very high level. And those two combined, those are what's. So that's the research, mastering the craft, and why I'm doing that, to converge to the composer's voice. So that's just an idea. Now on the banner on YouTube is only converge to the composer's voice, because I got a remark from Tim Schmoyer, so the guy who is doing this Video Labs course, that it's too much text on the channel art. So even my name should not be on that, he suggested. So the two what's, continue the research and master the craft, are not present as we speak. But what do you think on that? Converge onto the composer's voice. I kind of like that. It's not too pushy. It's not too romantic. It's just my goal actually. I would like to come as close to what Bach would have meant with the partitas. And at the end, it's my performance. It's not something I would stick to. If there would be a recording of Bach, imagine. I'm very happy there is not one recording of Bach. It would be very interesting though. But imagine that Bach would have recorded his partitas. Poor me, I think. Not that I don't think I should be ashamed then. I don't think that Bach was, by definition, a performer that would have outperformed me a million times. Maybe he was. But he would be a benchmark for every other recording. And that would leave us in a situation where we maybe could apply less of our own vision and maybe imagination to the performances. The nice thing is that we can turn it around now. So, let me know what you think. I'm very interested in that. I'm sorry for the long explanation. It's the nature of these vlogging walks, I think. I'm almost at my home now, so it looks like this. Thanks for watching. And if you're new to the channel, thanks for subscribing to this Authentic Sound YouTube channel. And we see each other next time again. Tomorrow, something special with Evelyn. Bye.